Good morning, my YouTube friends. How are you today? It is an absolutely beautiful fall morning here. And as I was setting up my camera, I looked behind me just to be able to see some of the trees already getting to turn. We're still fairly green here, but they're slowly turning. I'm thinking the next couple of weeks they will just be in their full glory. So I hope you're giving yourself a chance to enjoy a tree, enjoy a cup of coffee, raking leaves if you're so inclined, just the nice simple pleasures of a beautiful fall day. And when I make my videos, I never plan what I'm going to say. I just kind of get a feeling and want to be able to say something to you of encouragement and to help you plug along too on your journey, as well as I say things and do things for myself to encourage myself, because sometimes it can get a little heavy with whatever the case may be, and sometimes we just need that realignment or that adjustment, either from hearing a word, seeing a friend, receiving a text or a phone call. So that's why I'm here this morning on this beautiful Sunday morning. And again, there's just a lovely breeze included in the package, and the trees, and I just freshly brewed my coffee. So let me get a sip here. Something I want to share today, and it's about my personal journey. I don't know what you were like when you were young, how much direction you had, and just purpose. Some people knew what they wanted to do when they were very young, with some guidance again and direction. You found your course, or you just came into things and said, oh, okay, this works out. And I was always driven, but I feel like I never really had a bullseye in that drive, and I'm grateful for that gift, to still be seeking and growing and learning and hoping, for dreams and dreams to come true. And I know that with hard work, you can achieve about anything. I know there's a new school of thought. I hesitated because, there's a saying, work smarter, not harder. But the point is, whether you are disciplined in something or focused or, working toward it, I do believe, and some magic, that's how things can come about for you. So, but anyway, my journey was very long, and I was just determined to, get away from my start in life. I was going to do things differently. I was going to be different. I was going to act differently. I was going to live differently. I was going to carry myself differently, and I did, but in a very superficial way. And it's funny, when I think about the saying, things come full circle, they truly do. And I am living in the neighborhood that I left at age 14, and now I'm 67. And I bought this house. It'll be 9 years at the end of November. So, Lord willing, I'll say in a few years I've owned my home for 10 years. But today, I own a home in this neighborhood, and it's just really, you kind of have to step back on things in life sometimes to see, how they all play out, how they play out. But my dreams were big, they still are, but maybe, as I said, not directed. So I don't know if any of this resonates with you in your journey in your life. I think that I'm reaching women my age here. I'm not sure who my audience really is. I'm not getting monetized. There's no financial incentive here. I'm just wanting to share some thoughts. You know, as you get older, you kind of get you get the privilege of maybe saying what you want sometimes and doing what you want sometimes with that senior citizen status. So again, I just see for myself the growth in coming to realize, you know, that the way I did things and the way some of this really just fell into my lap and came about, and I always will give God the credit for that, in somehow directing me up and out of a very false understanding of life. And you know, I credit my mother, I have to credit her for this, that she grew up during the Depression and with a very, very upsetting childhood, poverty and alcoholism and all kinds of things. So she was a little extreme in her financial dealings, but it was based on what she experienced. So I understand that. I now understand that. But with that upset, it caused, you know, I believe us as her children, just a real loss of understanding direction, and everything didn't have to be a 4-alarm fire. That, you know, with some direction and peace, you know, you can really achieve about anything. So, you know, I still to this day, you know, have it ingrained in me about the water bill. You know, if you're cold, put a sweater on. So those things really aren't bad. And I think, and this is, I guess I do have a point to make this morning, that our culture, now there are those of you who are possibly watching that have done very well for yourself financially, or you've married very well financially, whatever the case may be. So, you know, I don't know who will be affected by the changes that I truly do believe are coming. And I mean that within our culture, within our government, within society, that everybody has lost that self-responsibility, that I'll do it myself, or figure it out, or just your own stewardship, your own agency of yourself in doing things. For the longest time, I would not use GPS. And I would have friends say, oh, you know, why won't you use that? Because I didn't want my ability to figure things out taken away. And I'll plug it in for a location that I'm somewhat familiar with, and I'll see where it's taking me. But then I think, you know, that I can figure things out for myself, and I do. So I'm just saying that, you know, getting back to the basics of life, doing things for yourself, figuring them out, you know, every day, or you know, every time is not a Starbucks moment. I know we want that feeling, but you know, brew your own coffee, do your own laundry, if you can, in the nice weather. I hang things on outdoor furniture, but I did finally get another clothesline and some clothespins. You know, that old-fashioned clothesline in the yard. Your clothes are getting actually sterilized from hanging out in the sun, and they're just being infused with, you know, hopefully the air still is somewhat fresh. And, you know, cooking your own food, doing your own dishes. I don't use my dishwasher because, you know, I know it may save more money, but it's very hard. Those chemicals are very hard on your dishes. So I do my own dishes, and I still manage to work a full-time job, get things done. You know, there's really no much more time in doing these things for yourself, as opposed to having them done for you. And you're saving money, and that is really what I'm concerned about in this day and age, is, you know, where things are possibly going to go. There's a lot of unsettlement, if that's the right word. We're not settled as a country, and And so, you know, for me to be penny wise and pound wise, you know, is what I need to do. You know, and another thing I have to say, I wish a lot of people who blow by me on the highway could see this, but you know, big cars and just sucking down gasoline, leaving your car running when you are like sitting in your car with the air conditioning on. You know, to me, I just watch that or see that as just money going right out the window. You know, there's never any moment of discomfort, it seems, that we have. And I like an edge. I want, not emotionally, but I want to be on an edge. I want that sense, little sense of urgency, just a little sense of what if, um, to keep my senses sharp and to keep my thoughts keen. Um, One thing that was huge for me when I really just look back on it at different times, you know, I stopped drinking alcohol. And you know, the kind of wine I like was $15 a bottle. Well, if I drink one of those a week or two, you know, that's $15 to $30 a week that could go into my savings account, and that's where it's going. So I'm grateful for that. So I guess maybe today's lesson or my sharing is, you know, just about your finances, about, you know, your own resources within yourself, not to give any of that up, um, you know, for the convenience that we're supposedly getting, you know, the comfortable life. I don't want that. I want comfort. I want to do things right, but I don't want a cush life. I just don't. So I hope this has given you some food for thought. I want to get to my coffee here before it gets too cold. I've got a day ahead of me. I'm doing laundry. I've got a little bit of projects that I hope to get to. The basement, as you know, has been done. The walls have been done, and I'm kind of having a different route in how I'm going to do up the basement floor. I saw some flooring that I might decide upon with a rug, but primarily I've got to find an electrician and get the ceiling covered. All the joists are exposed still. So, and that's going to be, you know, a financial, a small strain on you know, how I want to be able to save my money and the things that I do. So I'm still thinking on that, how to go about it, but I definitely need a little bit of electrical work done. So, all right, well, as always, I hope you're doing well. If you like my channel, there's a subscribe button. You're welcome to hit that. Share your thoughts, and as we, you know, walk along our own paths and we meet, I hope that we are all of encouragement to each other. So I'll see you soon.